Then I would like to first start up with getting to know each other a little bit. So maybe can we first do a quick round of introductions, so that the people know who we are as they are putting in the chat who they are. So let me start. I am Evelien Renders. I am the president of EUNIS, and I will introduce EUNIS in a few minutes. But we are an organization for IT collaboration in Europe. And I work at SURF, and SURF is the Dutch National Research and Education Network. I work as an international advisor. I advise on international collaboration, so that's also why we're here, specifically for the domain of education innovation. So I love standards, interoperability, IT architecture, but all for higher education institutions and education sector. Yeah, that's why I'm here. Let me pass it to Carmen. Vice President of our.
Hello, thanks, Evelien. Well, my name is Carmen Díaz. I'm a vice president in EUNIS also. And in EUNIS, I'm also part of the scientific committee. This is the reason why I'm here. And well, I work in Sigma in Spain. Sigma is a consortium of Spanish universities, and we participate actively in UNIS. Well, and we're very interested in collaboration between European universities. Thank you.
Thanks. I see that Albert has joined. We were just doing a quick round of introductions, so let me pass it to Josep.
Yes, thank you very much, Evelien. My name is Josep Duart. I'm a professor at the Open University of Catalonia, and also I'm a member of the management board of Eden. We will have the opportunity now to introduce Eden. I've been there since many years, and also I was a president of Eden in the past period. Albert, I think maybe you can start
I'll pass it to Albert. Yeah.
sharing the session.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to apologize because I had a problem to get connected. So I finally could ask my technicians to solve it. So my apologies for being a bit late. Okay, so you have just presented everyone, introduced everyone. We are online with all the participants, I think. And so Eden is participating in the Open Education Week since a long time, and we are providing a number of different webinars during this week. I really recommend all of you to participate in any of the webinars that could be interesting, depending on the topics you are interested in. In that case, we are talking about the strategies and collaboration for academic publishing. I have to say that we discussed previously about that topic, and we said it's not only academic publishing, but publishing in the way that our organizations should use this production from its members to disseminate all the activities they can have and they can do. So today we have a very highlighting panel, in the sense that we have people from EUNIS, people from Eden. This is a first collaboration between both organizations, and we think that we can benefit each other by sharing what we do in different topics and different arenas. In that sense, as you have listened to from EUNIS, the president, Evelien Renders, and also Carmen Díaz, one of the vice presidents, will be today to talk about that. And from the Eden side is Josep Duart, who is also the director of the journal currently. Eden is an association. We will start just having a short presentation of each association. As I have the floor now, I can go on with Eden. Eden is an association that is very old, in the sense it's more than 30 years, working on open, online, distance, and digital education for a long time. We have different institutions that could be universities mainly, but also vocational training institutions, some kind of schools too, and other organizations working in Eden. And we try to develop both innovation and research. And in that case, we are also having a number of members that are more researchers and another members are more practitioners. So from our perspective, it is important, both of them. And we organize a number of events along the year. And for instance, the central one is the annual conference that we usually hold in June. This year's one will be in Porto, in Portugal. And in addition to that, every 2 years we organize a research workshop more focused to researchers. Every year we also organize what we call DILA, that it's a Digital Education Leadership Academy, that it's more focused on people with high responsibilities in the institutions, or leaders, considering leaders in a wider perspective. So those people that are working as a leader at this moment as a position, and other people that are fostering others, working with others, coordinating other people, and that they can get a position later on. So we think that to create a community of people interested in leadership in Europe is important, and Eden is also supporting that. In addition to this, we are participating in a number of webinars and activities that the European Commission also organizes, like this Open Educational Week, also the Open Digital Learning Week that usually is in November, and our two departments, the NAP, the NAP department, that is the Network for Academic Professionals, also organize a number of webinars throughout the year that could be of interest for our members, and also for other people that could attend too. And also the Fellows Council, that it's the department in which all the people that has been awarded with a fellowship from Eden is working there in order to work as a kind of think tank that could give also ideas and proposals and suggestions to the Eden Management Board in order to go further and to work on that sense. So this could be a very short introduction about Eden and the activities. And I would now like to give the floor to Evelien in order to make also a short presentation about what EUNIS is doing.
Sorry, I muted myself. Now I'm unmuted again. Yes, thank you so much. So let me just give a quick introduction, but maybe first, because I always really like to know who is in the room with me and why they are here, I would like to ask you what interests you about academic publishing. So I'll leave this question open during my presentation. You can take your time, you can just fill it in, and then we will get back to this, and we will actually look at what brought you here, so that this webinar will be the most interesting for you as it can be. So let me go back to my presentation. So I am from EUNIS right here. We are advancing digital transformation in higher education in Europe, and we are a community. So we are all about knowledge sharing. We have about 120 members. We have been around for over 30 years already, and we are bringing together CIOs, digital transformation officers, enterprise architects, cybersecurity people, everyone who is supporting digital transformation in higher education institutions. We do that with a vision, of course, because we first of all want to empower the individuals within the institutions. So our members, they are institutional members, and then we have people within those institutions who are actually the change makers and who want to know what is happening in Europe and how can I collaborate? How can I scale from a local level of my institution to a national level, to a European level, and maybe even look at the global perspective, because EUNIS is also the link to the global community. So with these empowering these professionals, we want to enhance the institutional resilience. And with that institutional resilience, we want to enhance the bigger European higher education technology ecosystem. And how do we then do that? I am in the way of my own presentation. So we try to meet the challenges of today and tomorrow by connecting the community together. So we kind of act as a trusted voice. We act as a place, a platform where these groups come together. And they do that, for example, with special interest groups. So special interest groups, they are benchmarking, enterprise architecture, AI for all the groups that our colleagues are most interested in communicating on and knowledge sharing on. And then we hold an annual congress where these groups, they actually come together. So we have the annual congress there. We have workshops and webinars. We have an annual benchmarking cycle, and a collective pool of expertise that people actually, work at. I think this is the most short introduction I can give. EUNIS as an organization also has global partnerships and European partnerships, and this is also the context of this webinar. So how can Eden and EUNIS work more together on the side of publishing? And we attend many different congresses, and there we share our expertise and we moderate panels and those kind of things. This is our congress. It's taking place in a few months in June in Timișoara. If you are interested about this, go to eunis.org. I will post a link in the chat as well. Registration is already open, and it's going to be a really interesting congress this year. So yeah, I would love to see you there. So I will hand it back to Albert. And oh no, first maybe we can look back at our Mentimeter. What are people interested in? Maybe I can ask Albert to comment.
Yeah, thank you. Well, now we are going, after this introduction from both institutions, we are going to start discussing about the topic of today. And people then have said, I hope that only 5 people still responded, but I think it will be coming on the road. Some of the people said that especially they would like to know where to publish. So I think that then people is eager to publish, but they don't know where. And maybe this could be one of the recommendations or the reflections we can do today. On the other side, there is also other concerns about digital education, open journal, interesting research, AI for education, visibility, micro-credentials, growth, and mail-out work, no. I think that where to publish is like a question. The other ones are topics that could be also discussed. And now visibility is also higher, which is or bigger. What I mean that more than one people consider that visibility is also an issue. Other aspects that are coming now is building a solid evidence, authorship after AI. This is a very interesting question that probably you can provide some idea about that. So especially people have papers to publish. They would like to know where to publish, how to be more visible, in which kind of journals they can publish, or if there is only journals to publish or there are other means for that. So in that sense, then I would like to give the floor to Evelien and Carmen in order to explain which is the experience of EUNIS on publishing, let's say academic or practitioner publishing, in the sense that they carry out different strategies for that. And later on, we will also listen to Josep in order to know which ones also Eden is providing. So, Evelien, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I will share the screen or Carmen, do you want to do that yourself?
As you want.
The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, this is our process overview. It's a very, very high point of view. The first thing, how we want to explain how we make the call for submissions, how we make the review, how we organize the review process, and the proceedings publications at the end. Okay, And well, about call for submissions. Well, first, let me explain. Thank you, Evelien. Briefly, how we prepare this submission process. Before we opened the submission, scientific committee defined the tracks that will be guide the themes of the papers. These tracks reflects the key areas of interest for the EUNIS community. And for example, this year we are working with these three main tracks: learning, teaching, and research, governance and policy, and IT and infrastructure. As you can see, are very general, but it's important for us to classify all the papers in one of them. Before the submission, we also reviewed the guidelines, the required template, paper length, the formatting rules, and so on. Yeah, and all this before the announcement of the call for submissions. We also update website, EUNIS website with all these details. And well, when we have all the this preparation ready, we make the communication with the authors, with the official announcement of the call for submissions. Well, we provide, of course, the opening date, the deadline, the instructions that they need to follow. We prepare very well of this communication with the idea that the process will be very soft and works perfectly. Well, each author provides an abstract of the paper and a full paper, of course, using the provide template. They upload it on the tool that we are using. And well, we need to take into account that, as Evelien says, and also Albert, a EUNIS community, not only researchers are who contribute in this process. And well, for this reason, we accept different types of contributions. For example, of course, research papers. We also accept case of studies, experience reports, conceptual frameworks and expert perspectives, innovations, technology demonstrations, etc. As you can say, it's very open, the kind of types that of contributions that we accept. Okay, and when the period of submission closes, we start with the review process. Each paper is assigned to reviewers who first indicates the files of expertise of their expertise. These files are the previous this one that I previously explained, and each paper is reviewed by 2 experts. And during this review process, there are several key aspects that they evaluate: the relevance for a EUNIS community and the relation with the Congress theme, the originality and the contribution of the state to the state of the art, and also the quality of the presentation, including, for example, English level, reference, compliance with the template, etc. And with all this information, finally, each reviewer assigns an overall evaluation with including a detailed comments about the evaluation. And of course, if the reviewers identify improvements that need to be made, the authors are informed so they can review the paper and upload a new version. Other possible situation is that both reviewers disagree in their evaluation of the paper. And in this case, we assign a third reviewer to make the final decision regarding the acceptance of the paper. Once this whole process is complete, we notify the authors and share the list of accepted papers with program committee, who then integrate them into the Congress sessions to organize the presentation of the papers to the community. Yeah, and yes, the other thing that I want to share with you is that, for example, scientific committee is also responsible for awarding best paper and elite awards. And well, these awards are presented or announced during the Congress. Well, this is all the process. And regarding the publication, when all this the revision is finished, the publication, the process of publication. We are using a tool that currently requires that the authors upload the final version, okay, with improvement, with some other information that they want to share, okay, and this final version is checked to ensure that follows the templates of the form rules, etc. And all this process allows us to unify the format of all contributions and have very unified, a very homogeneous publication. This year, we have set ourselves a clear goal that is to publish the proceedings before the Congress. This is something that we hadn't able to achieve in previous years, but we redesigned the schedule to so that all the articles are published and available in advance before the Congress, because we believe that this will help us to disseminate information and contribute to better discussions during the conference. As you can say, all of our publications is very focused to our to present during the Congress and to spread this this information, these publications with the community. And finally, just to remark some benefits that we think that are important to the community with this publication of the papers, is that we think that this work helps to connect institutions with other European community of leaders, higher education professionals, IT experts, and researchers, of course. And this also increase the visibility of the institutions, yeah, and of course helps to European institutions to strengthen their networks. And well, all these advantages fit perfectly with our main mission. To foster collaboration between European institutions.
Yeah. I just want to
yes,
add
of course.
a little bit. So just for people, so
Yeah.
what does that then look like? So I just like to show that if you go to our website, eunis.org, for example, we have the publications here listed. The latest ones, the latest 5 have been done in the EPIC series of computing. And if you click that, then you go to the easy chair where all of our proceedings are here. And you can see that it's 394 pages, which is quite a lot, 39 articles in total. But also we have kind of an archive of the older publication. And I was even trying to go back 25 years, but I saw that the link is no longer working. But there was the EUNIS 2001 conference, and we had proceedings there, but I see that the link is broken. So I think it would be nice to do some actually archival work a little bit and to see if we can figure out the 25 years ago proceedings. We still have the websites from our conferences in back to 1997. And I think doing something of a historic overview might be a good idea. And I don't know if Eden has ever done that, but it might be nice to look at 25 or maybe even 30 years of digital transformation in higher education at one point.
Yes, we are going to give the floor to Josep to explain which is the strategy that Eden is using. Please.
Okay. Thank you, Albert. Okay, but maybe my idea is just complementing these things because I believe that many people attending to this conference really knows the way that Eden is working, not and offering the possibilities to publish. Of course, people knows that we have also conference. We publish our proceedings, and also we have a journal called EuroDL, and I will have in a few moments a short explanation about the journal. But I would like to use my time now, in particular, according with the comments that you made at the beginning of this session and your questions about the visibility, where to publish, and other things. Not, I would like to comment about publishing educational practices. That means this idea that we believe, and I think this kind of associations like UNIS or Eden, we are here also to help all of you to publish not only research papers, but also educational practices, the things that we are doing every day as a practitioners, as a professors in our higher education classrooms or primary and secondary, etc. I have a strong experience as an editor-in-chief. Since more than 20 years, I was the founder of one journal, which at this moment is the first ranked journal in the world in the area of educational technology. It's International Journal of Educational Technology in Higher Education. That means I have a lot of experience on that. But today I would like to focus my presentation not only in research, in publishing research or publishing the research results, also the publishing educational practices. But let me start explaining a little bit because why it's important to publish, not because we are teachers, we are practitioners, we are professors, we are people who are doing our classrooms and also our research. If we don't publish, we don't offer the community the possibility to learn, the possibility to grow, the possibility to understand better the real problems that we have nowadays in our fields. That means publishing, it's very important because it's the best way that we have to share with our community, to share with other people the things that we are doing, not only to see that, not only The reason is not just for the other people see the things that we are doing. The reason is because we are in an open community. Now, this is the Open Educational Week, and the best way to learn from each other and to increase the knowledge in our community is sharing our practices. That means doing something to make more visible and increase the visibility of our activities. No? Why we have to publish not only research papers, also academic practices, because it's the best way to scale our knowledge and the knowledge in our community, as I mentioned, because not only research has a value in our community, also the practice has a value. And at the end, the research is something like analyze better some practices, not applying some scientific methodologies, etc. No, but at the end, the practice itself has a very good value for our community. Of course, if we share this knowledge, we can create this collective intelligence. That means we can learn from each other, not? But also you, each one of us, we can create also our professional and personal identity. That means we can have a place in this community, and the other people interested in to know better some kind of practices that we are doing, they can contact with us in order to improve their practices or the knowledge together. No? That means this is a very important things, not? And I think it's a clear reasons because we have to publish not only research, also academic publishing. No? But what is what is educational practices? Not in that sense, what can count for publication? As an editor-in-chief of a research journal, I know that it's very, very, very complicated, or maybe it's impossible to publish educational practices in a high-level reputed journals or research journals, because these journals only want to publish, only expect to receive research papers. But there are so many other possibilities to publish in another places. I will show later another possibilities, this kind of educational practices. No? But what kind of practices I'm talking about? For instance, case studies, the things that we observe in our classrooms, no? Design experience, for instance, the kind of innovations that we design in order to improve some teaching and learning processes, innovation pilots, institutional transformation models. We know now at this moment all of higher education institutions are in a transformation process as a result of artificial intelligence and technology, etc. Policy reflections, etc. Everything matters. Everything is important in educational practice, and if we do not document this educational innovation, at the end that can disappear. And I think this is the reason because it's important to share. And why it matters for professionals, not only for researchers, because also as a professionals we have the responsibility to increase or to improve our career and our credibility as a professionals, as a practitioners, and publication of our educational practices is a way to do it. Also, that allows us the opportunity to have an international network, to connect with other people, national or internationally. As I mentioned before, not if you as a professional, as a teacher, as an educator, publish, that means the other people know you and contact with you, and this is a good opportunity to establish a network. And also that's the reason because EDEN, for instance, and also EUNIS and other educational or academic networks works not offering a kind of a platform not to share these publications, these experiences, these innovations, and open these networks not for professionals and individuals and associations too. Of course, Eden, as EUNIS mentioned before, not is it's a platform for publishing practices. As I mentioned at the beginning, we have a journal. In that case, it's EURODL. It's European Journal of Open, Distance, and E-Learning. Nowadays, maybe it's better to say digital and e-learning, not? But it's okay because this journal started, I think it was 30 years ago. It's a long time journal at this moment. It's accessible to practitioners, not just to researchers, because it's a journal at this moment is not indexed in Scopus or Web of Science. That allows us the opportunity to receive not only research papers, also the possibility to practitioners to publish their experience, their case studies, as some of the examples that I mentioned before. Of course, it's community oriented, and we encourage to receive different voices, not from different countries, different regions in the world. Of course, it's a European journal, but we are publishing papers and we are receiving so many papers from other areas in the world. But yes, we have this kind of a European flavor of the journal, no? Is a lower barrier than a traditional or different other indexed journals, not? In that sense, we are more open, not? And we can receive many different kind of papers. And of course, have a high relevance and professional impact. The impact of the papers, it's very high. That means that increase the visibility, which is one of the things that you mentioned at the beginning. No? I mean, of course, we encourage you to submit papers to this journal, but there are another ways, another possibilities to publish. Not if you can see here this pyramid, not you can see the three different levels. The big one in the base is to share your experiences, your academic practices in conferences or EUNIS conference, Eden conference, Oden conference, or for instance in Eden, we have in our webpage a label there that we call Eden Open Resources. That means we can share here opportunities, webinars and other things that, for instance, NAP is doing. That means it's a very open and general possibility to submit your educational practices. The other level, which is a little bit reduced, is to participate in conference, and that at the end is published in the conference proceedings. It's very important because also increase your visibility, and the narrow one in the top of this pyramid is the academic journals. Why? Because the journals have a rigorous academic selection of the papers, not according with the traditional rules to accept the papers. No? But as you can see here, you have many opportunities and different opportunities to publish your paper. But I would like to insist on that quality is very important. And we have to ensure this quality because at the end, as I said at the beginning, we are publishing, we are sharing this in order to help the community to increase the knowledge and to have a good knowledge in that community. We need to preserve the quality in that sense, not? That means in that case, when we have to publish, usually we will see that there is a particular rules, formal rules to publish, not because this is understandable because it's something to make our presentations, our submissions understandable for the community. No? If we have more or less the same format, the same formal way to submit that it's a way to, of course, to ensure quality, but also to ensure the possibility that the other people understand better the experiences that we are offering to them. Not in that sense, these 5 things that I put here, of course, identify the meaning of the practice and the innovation, explain what kind of innovation is it, identify the topic and the idea of this innovation, reflect critically what happens and why. It's not just explain the things that you are doing. Please be a little bit criticize yourself, and also compare with the others, not and to see what others say. Is the same that happens to you? The results, it's different. That this is a very important part. Also, the structure, not to with a coherent narrative, not to explain correctly. Connect with the existing literature and evidence, because you are not the only person in the world which is doing this kind of innovation. We are sure that other people is doing similar things. You can find these other things and and connect with your innovation. And of course, at the end, share that to the community. At the end, this is to be clear in the context, to be clear in the definition of the problem that you would like to share with others, that you would like to explain with your presentation. Of course, to have a theoretical position, is not necessary in this kind of practice papers, not to have a strong explanation of the theory, but yes, it's important to at least mention in which theory are you based. Of course, explain the methodological approach and provide a reflection of the lesson learned during the period of this innovation, and some recommendations to transfer to other regions, to other possibilities to transfer this innovation that you made in your classroom. Not at the end, these three pillars is relevance. That means something that is interesting for the community. Of course, sharing with rigor, not with academic rigor. For instance, defining the problem, having a clear theoretical approach, and providing also a reflection, not something that to analysis of the proposal, not. Of course, the quality assurance when you submit a paper in a journal or a paper in a conference or something in general for an association, it's normal, and EUNIS explained before, not pass a kind of a screening editorial process and also a peer review analysis. But the most important of that is not to reject or to provide something to say, okay, this is a bad quality paper or bad quality proposal. The most important thing in the peer review process is the feedback. I think the peer review process at the end, the main goal is to provide tools for the improvement of the submission that you made in a paper, in a journal, in a conference, or in another thing. You have to understand that because many of us are, of course, authors, but also we are also reviewers. And it's important to understand this double characteristic that we have as a professors. No? Just to finish, I would like to encourage all of you to participate, to share your activities. You can do it as teachers, you can do it as educational leaders, you can do it as technologists. Publishing is important in that sense. I think it's a kind of a professional responsibility, but that means that let's build this culture of visible practices. That means it's not only make the research visible, it's very important also to make these activities that we are doing visible also, because as I insist that, as I said, it's the best way to improve and to the knowledge in our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Josep. Well, I think that you have said a lot of things, a lot of interesting things that people could probably reflect. Now we have two visions that are quite complementary on the fact of what EUNIS is doing with the proceedings and this publication in the EPIC series of computing, for instance, for a long time, since a long time. And on the other hand, the different strategies that Eden has carried out in order to give people the opportunity to share open documents, open things in general, but also proceedings in the conferences or papers in the journals. I don't know if, I was going to ask if you had any question about that or comment. Evelien, please.
Yeah, so I really love this one slide that Josep showed. It had four areas, and I think it was knowledge, skills, practice has value, collective intelligence, and professional identity, because I really recognize that in our community as well. A lot of the innovation actually happens on the floors of the institutions, right? It's the practitioners who are trying to experiment, solve problems. Normally, they don't really write those experiences down. And if we don't encourage them, it stays as local institutional knowledge. Maybe they do a project report, maybe they file something, but it stays very local and locked into that one university. And I think what is really exciting about the work that we're doing is that we provide an incentive and an opportunity to the community to actually move from that institutional knowledge to collective European knowledge. And in that way, really scale up what we're doing. So that was the collective intelligence, I think, that you mentioned. And then the thing about the professional identity, I have actually experienced myself as well, because I am definitely not an academic researcher. I am not really suited to long, lonely research. I work very well in groups, but the conference at EUNIS has actually helped me to think about and to have a group to write with, so that there are others who are more academically researchers, and then I can actually put in my input and they can challenge me on my sources. And this collaboration has really worked well. And that way, even my knowledge from my institutional background got to be in a paper that I would have never done alone if I was just attending a conference on my own. Yeah.
Thank you, Evelien. Would you like to introduce any other idea, Josep, Carmen?
And just to mention that I think this is the most important thing that the networks like Eden or EUNIS can do for our communities. Not at the end, we are a kind of platforms, not networks that help individuals and also institutions, not to share their knowledge that they are creating internally in the institutions or individuals, and to head to a different level, not this knowledge, and to share this knowledge with other people. Not the most critical and important thing is to not only share the knowledge, is to have the opportunity to create something together. Not for instance, in Eden last year with our fellows. We decided to start the process to create a position paper, a white paper, not? And this is another thing that this kind of networks, this kind of communities can do, because it's a good way to put together the different people, different knowledge, not, and to build at the end one document, which is a policy document, not, that we can share with all the community to increase their knowledge.
Evelien has posted a question for the audience. I think it's important to start listening to them in that sense. She said, what is keeping you from publishing or undertaking applied research? So please, we are going to receive your comments on that, because we would like to be much more interactive on this side of the this part of the webinar. In the meantime, I would like to ask both of you, or you three, some of the comments said something about the editors, who are the ones that decide what is going to be really published. But so putting myself in the shoes of the editors, for instance, what makes a paper interesting to be published? What means any kind of paper? I mean, maybe for a journal or maybe for a conference. What is the thing that makes it attractive for an editor to publish it? Do you have any thought about that?
Well, in the case of EUNIS, one of the things, or of the checks that the reviewers have to take into account is the interest of this paper for the community. Yeah, for EUNIS, the approach of this paper for the rest of the community. And it's something that the reviewers happen to intervene during this process. Yeah, I think that this is an important point.
Yeah, and I think that when we analyze the papers, for example, from 2025, the strongest papers, they combine institutional practice, lessons learned, and then how is that relevant for many universities? Because in the Netherlands, we have, well, you are one university, and then we have 14 universities in the Netherlands. We have European University Alliances, 73 right now in Europe. That's over 650 institutions working together in groups of 9, right, across the borders. And they are doing some really interesting stuff with interoperability of courses or how to share your learning materials with each other across 9 institutions, across 9 national contexts. And they, of course, are very busy, as we all are, and then providing an opportunity for them to scale what they have learned. Those are the most interesting papers for us right now. Yeah.
In that sense, as there is no one having any mention about your question, but I
Maria
was
has
thinking about usually, and you mentioned the projects of all these alliances and so on, that people usually is daily, they have a big workload to work and so on. So writing sometimes is hard. How to start? How to keep reading? I think maybe you can give some tips on that from your experience or from the experience of other people in which you have interacted with, and you have seen that probably some particular tips are helping on that. Or maybe there is no answer about it. I don't know.
Well, I'm not an expert writing.
No, but I think it depends. It depends of the. I think you have to think from the beginning uh, where you want to publish or whom you want to share the things that you are going to write, not because it's different if you are thinking into publish in a journal. Of course, you for journal it's clear because you have this a clear structure, no? You have an introduction, an abstract, the background or the theoretical approach, explain the methodology, blah blah blah, different discussion, etc. No? But in the case for educational practice, because also in proceedings it's more or less clear, and usually it's the same for a poster, not because in a case of a poster you have also the rules, etc. But it's not clear that in the case of to explain educational practices, not. But as I put in one of my slides, I think it's more or less it's make your try to make your experience understandable for others, not? And in that sense, it's something that helps you. It's to have a clear structure, not? Explaining, for instance, why you decided to do this kind of practice. What was the idea that you have behind, no, to solve that problem or to work in that sense? Please explain that clearly because that will help the people who read the paper to understand why are you doing that, not? After that, explain how it works, what happens during the process, not? And maybe at the end, you can see if other people do the same and the results of your experience is different or the same that the others that you read before, and make some comments for the future analysis that you can do with that, no? But at the end, this is a typical structure, not? But it's something that the people understand. Because if you can do it probably, and nowadays it's very it's many people are talking about narrative, not? You can explain if you want a kind of history, not an history explained like a novel, not? I think you can do that. For instance, it is a case study, not? But it depends. I insist. It depends to where are you planning to publish these kind of things that you are starting writing.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Josep, in the fact that probably the recipient of your writing needs a different approach depending on this recipient. I mean, for instance, in some case, in my personal experience, it's not the same to write an article that to write a book. I need in a book to express even kinds of ideas that are much more personal than those based on evidence, and that probably sharing them with other people can express what I do and what I think. For instance, now there is a comment from Deborah that says, "What keeps us breathing? A desire and a need to clarify our
Yes.
thoughts." And
Yeah.
I agree on that. But on the other side, then I would add, okay, so once your thoughts are clear, share them with the others. So it's not only because of you, it's also because you are much more clear on your thoughts, and then you can share with the others in order to help them also to clarify their thoughts, probably because maybe they didn't start writing to clarify their personal thoughts too. So it's a kind of team working in some extent. It's not only us, it's not only about us, it's also about what the others will do with what we write. And I think it's important then to have this push for writing before others, because others can also take advantage of that. So I would like also highlight what Evelien has posted in the chat. That it's a question about how can EUNIS and Eden could support you more. So please let us know that, because we can work together for that end. So she says maybe online training sessions on academic writing, or facilitating brain diets to talk about your solutions at my scale, or how to make your experience understandable for others. So please let us know that if you so start writing by asking these questions and the answers in the chat space, because maybe it's a good starting point for doing that. So okay.
Yeah. I want to add maybe one small thing that really stuck with me throughout the years, and that is the concept of the shitty first draft. Every first draft will be shitty, and there's no reason to fear it. The weird thing with AI right now, with large language models, is that your shitty first draft may sound very good, but it is still shitty because the concepts and maybe the narrative and it still needs to build. And that is sometimes a problem, because now sometimes you get these shitty first drafts that look really professional, but they're not. So I think that going back to that, okay, just putting your thoughts to paper and then not fearing the lashback or the people saying, "Oh, this is terrible." You can just call it like it is. Like, "Hey, this is my first draft," but it's good to get the first things onto paper, and then we can build on that. Yeah, and maybe don't use AI for the first draft, because it doesn't need to look amazing at the beginning. You can always use it at the end to polish and to make sure that it moves smoothly. But yeah.
But Evelien, you showed the monster under the bed. So how should we use AI for writing, and how we should not use it? What do you think about?
No, this is a very important topic, not in particular in publishing, not. As I mentioned, I have experience as an editor-in-chief in a research journal, and this is one of the most complicated issues in this moment, because it's not only writing from the author, it's also the review process. You can put the article and say, okay, please make me a review for this journal, and of course the artificial intelligence do that, not? I think for this area, for this level, for research, academic research papers, the most important thing is to be transparent. That means you need to explain if you use or not artificial intelligence in the elaboration of the paper of your research. And that is very, very, very important to do, to explain, not? Because at the end, it's another author, not, who is participating in this in the process of writing this article. No? Many journals, for instance, don't allow to reviewers to use artificial intelligence to review papers, because it's a bad thing. The first, because it's putting on the artificial intelligence the paper, which is not ready yet. We don't have the permission from the authors to upload this paper in the artificial intelligence. But the second thing, because we still have to believe in the human knowledge, to make reviews, and not only in the artificial intelligence knowledge, not. But in these other educational practices, I think we can play with artificial intelligence in all of these processes, not? I think many of you mentioned that some people say, okay, please give me some ideas to start thinking on that, or not. I prefer to prepare these ideas and after upload to the artificial intelligence and see what the artificial intelligence provide. But I always recommend at the end, when you have the paper or the presentation or everything ready, please mention that this was made with the help of the artificial intelligence. And also, if you have the opportunity, and for instance, I read educational practices in different places who share the prompt that they use to define that, for instance, to prepare a kind of observation for a classroom, or prepare something to provide rubrics to evaluate. If you share the prompt that you use, it's also sharing your knowledge and sharing and increase the knowledge in the community, no? But I think transparency in the explaining that the uses that you made with artificial intelligence is the most important thing here.
Would you like to add something else, Evelien, Carmen?
No, but I think that I agree. I agree with Josep that it's important to say that you use artificial intelligence, not just no, because sometimes sounds very strange the language and the structure and everything. And well, if you just
Yeah.
is important.
Yeah. And then there's also the digital literacy around AI that, of course, maybe that is something that Eden and EUNIS can also help with, in terms of that we show, or we instruct, we educate our community on which large language models are just grabbing all your data, which ones have more privacy proof features. What happens if you pay for it and you opt out of the data processing? Is it then really safe to upload your non-finished, non-published paper? Because sometimes it is really nice when you have done a lot of work to kind of put it in and to ask it critical questions, to say like, okay, what am I missing here? Is it consistent? Sometimes you are staring so long at your own writings, and it's so nice to have that kind of sparring partner. So that is one of the ways that I, for example, use it. But then I am more conscious about, okay, am I using Claude, Anthropic, or am I using ChatGPT, OpenAI? Because I'm also not happy with how the companies are behaving. So there's also a choice there in terms of digital sovereignty, right? There was the whole topic a few weeks ago about Anthropic and OpenAI being asked to kind of do mass surveillance. And then you see in the response of these companies that they take different approaches. And I think that's also important to take into account. So there's a lot of aspects there. And maybe it would be interesting to do something like a further on webinar course, something around this topic, because I think everyone is struggling with it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, there has been it has been deleted. There was a comment about that sometimes some people or some companies are publishing very quickly, or they don't publish and do things and so on. One of the main things I think are harnessing what we could do is that sometimes innovation based on the companies is not shared with the others, in the sense that when you are looking for what are the basics or the fundamentals in which some company have developed a technology, for instance, you cannot find it, because the important thing is to launch it and to experience and to see. Probably they don't evaluate anything, because you know that evaluation sometimes means that things can be successful or things can fail. But this kind of companies are not interested in failing. So if they fail, they won't say a word about that. But for us, as people that is a practitioner, that are practitioners or researchers, this is very important, because when we are sharing things, we would like to know if that things are also working in other contexts. And sharing these ideas and sharing our experiences is crucial in order to grow all together. So I think that it's important also, this idea of not so to claiming for more transparency also with the kind of reports that some companies are publishing and so on, because sometimes they don't have the rigor that Josep was telling us when explaining how a journal or any other kind of publication should have in terms of quality. So I think that this is just a reflection on the importance of sharing every time and following quality procedure that can ensure that what we said is at least sincere, in the sense that we can be right or wrong, but this doesn't matter. The most important thing is what we learn from our success or from our failure. So this is what is important for the communities. This is the way in which we are building up new ideas, new developments, new things in general. Okay.
Yes, can I mention something about that?
Sure.
I think this is also very important, not because I think we are lucky in our field, in education field, because I think many people of us believe that we have to share and we have to open our contents. Not we are on the Open Education Week, and I think this is very common and usual in our field. Not it's true that some universities, in particular some private and for-profit universities, are interested in not sharing contents or knowledge. But I think we believe that this is not a good practice in our field, no? And for me, it also doesn't make sense, because at the end, it's very difficult to not sharing this kind of experience in education, no? But we can understand that probably in some other fields, some people don't want to share this, because some people it's earning money with that. Not, for instance, that happens in business, that happens, for instance, in health. Remember that during the pandemic, if during the pandemic all of the world worked together, trying to find one vaccine for all, I'm sure that will be more quick than that happens at the end. But remember that we have the European one, the Chinese one, the Russian one, the Cuban one, etc. Each country do separately. Why? Because at the end was the economic, the financial interest of each country or companies to find the vaccine and earn money with this vaccine. This is something that at this moment, and we have to be happy in education. It's not the situation, but I would like to remark that we need to preserve our freedom as researchers, not to share our knowledge with other people in order to increase and to participate in the creation of the community. I strongly believe that. Probably in other fields that could be a little bit more complicated, but in our field we have to do it.
Thank you, Josep. Well, we are coming to the end of this webinar. We don't receive any other message, I think, any other comment. Please, it's still time for it. If you have any question, let us know. Previous to the end, I would like to share with you some information in order you to take advantage of the QR codes on that. I'm going to share my screen. It's about some activities that Eden is going to organize. So, for instance, one is about this Open Education Week that tomorrow we will finish with another webinar on digital preservation and revitalization of endangered scripts, the case of the Dongba script. So it could be interesting. Please, through this QR, you could get more information about it. If you have no time to catch the QR, please go to the Eden DLE website, and all the information will be there. In the same way, our conference will be from the 14th to the 16th of June in Porto, Portugal. And now the paper submission and registration is open. So also here, the QR will give you more information about that. Initially, the submission deadline is March 20th. So it's not a lot of time to do it, but I think that you have the opportunity for that. So remember, write and submit a proposal on that. And also you can submit your proposals to the journal, the EuroDL, the European Journal of Open Distance and E-Learning, as Josep has introduced during the webinar. Also, you have more information here in the QR. And as I told you, we have the network of academics and professionals that you can also participate and collaborate with them. More information also here or in the Eden website. That's all in that sense. I don't know if you, prior to finish, if you also the information about the Timisoara EUNIS conference is also in the chat, that Evelien has kindly facilitated the link on that. So also you have that. The difference between EUNIS and Eden is just the kind of approach of the topics, but I think that we have a strong opportunity and road for collaboration in that sense. So we can be quite complementary in some extent. So please try to know about all of us in that sense. I don't know if you would like to add something else now at the end of the webinar before closing it. If not,
just thank you very much, Albert, for sharing the session. And I think I will also mention that it's very important to have these two networks together today here, Eden and EUNIS, and it's a clear proof that we would like to share our knowledge and to work together. And I think it's a good example.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I want to say the same. Thank you for organizing this, and also I learned a lot from Josep's presentation and the conversation afterwards. And the thing that stuck with me the last was the one about, I think, vendor lock-in, or we have to keep our freedom in the public, the sovereignty actually discussion that is going on now a lot in Europe for higher education, both for education practice, but also for research. And I think having open research and open education is really important. And if we can do stuff more together, then I think that will be a great start we did now. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Evelien. In fact, I was thinking that this has been a very good example of a webinar in the Open Education Week, because what we have been saying along throughout the webinar has been share and be open and work with others in order to create a better future for all of us. And in that sense, I think that I would like to take one of the sentences you have said during this webinar, that it was about the importance of publishing. And the importance of publishing was because this let us share our knowledge. And I think that probably the takeaway of between others, of course, but the main takeaway of this webinar is, please remember the importance of publishing to be able to share with others and to build together our future in that sense. So thank you very much to EUNIS for the collaboration. Evelien, Carmen, thank you from the bottom of our heart. And Josep, thank you very much for being the voice of Eden in the publishing arena. You know a lot about that, and I think that every time you are sharing this knowledge, you are improving also the world of publishing and the world of practitioner and research. And thank you to all of the people that have attended to the meeting. We hope that it has been interesting for you. Please, if you later on have some reflection about it, don't hesitate to send us a message and send us your thoughts, because we will try to take advantage of them and to be able to work together in order to give some kind of answer to you and some kind of new opportunity for keeping growing together. So thank you very much and have a nice day all together.